Good morning. Welcome to the City of San Antonio's COVID Impact Grant Program info session. We are happy to have you all joining us today. We are going to give it a few minutes to let more participants join, and then we'll go ahead and get started. Good morning. Welcome, everyone. We are seeing more people join by the minute, which is great. A lot of good information that we're going to share today, but just sit tight, be patient with us. We're going to give it a few minutes to allow for more people to join, and then we will go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining early. Good morning. Welcome. Thank you for joining us for the City of San Antonio's COVID Impact Grant Program info session. We will get started here momentarily. Thanks for joining us early and for your patience. As we wait for more participants to join us, we're going to go ahead and share some instructions with the audio. We are offering this info session in English and in Spanish. You can see the instructions for the audio in English here on the screen. So if you want to change your audio in the meeting/webinar controls, look for the button called interpretation. You would click on that button and then click on the language that you would like to hear. And then the last step, which is optional, if you'd like to only hear the interpreted language, you will need to click mute original audio. And again, we're offering this session in English, but then also in Spanish. Muy buenos días, bienvenidos a nuestra sesión informativa para el programa de subvenciones de la ciudad de San Antonio. Estamos ofreciendo esta sesión informativa en 2 idiomas, en inglés y en español. Para poder escuchar la sesión en español, va a tener que buscar en la plataforma los controles y tiene que ver un botón que se llama o que se ve ahí que dice interpretación. Le hace clic allí y luego escoge el idioma que desea escuchar. Si es español, escoge español. Y luego la última parte, si desea escuchar solamente el idioma que se está interpretando, tiene que hacer clic en un botón o donde le dice silenciar audio original para poder nomás escuchar el idioma que se está interpretando. De nuevo, bienvenidos. Muchas gracias por estar aquí con nosotros. Otra cosa también que queremos compartir es si por favor tienen preguntas y quieren compartir preguntas para nuestro equipo, por favor usen la sección de Q y A. La pueden ver en los controles en el seminario web o en la plataforma. Preferimos que use la sección de Q y A y no el chat o lo que se dice la cajita de chat. Pero muchas gracias y esperamos que aprenden mucho y porque les vamos a compartir mucha información. Thank you again, everyone who joined early. We're going to go ahead and get started. But before we do that, we would like to request and encourage you all to use the Q&A feature. So the Q&A button on the platform, on the Zoom platform to ask questions versus the chat. So please, throughout the session and even later after we're done with the formal presentation, use the Q&A so we can answer and get you some of those answers to the questions. Okay.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Ana Bradshaw. Muy buenos días. Me llamo Ana Bradshaw. I'm very proud to be here today to provide some information on the COVID Impact Grants Program that the City of San Antonio is providing in partnership with Lift Fund. We understand our small businesses have been heavily impacted and continue to be impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. So City Council approved this grant program to provide some immediate relief to our small businesses. And so in this session today, the Lift Fund team will be providing some important information as you prepare to submit your application. Applications will open on August 1st. And again, we'll go through the full timeline today. But there are some things you can be doing now to get prepared for the application opening. So I encourage you to listen in today, ask questions, and also know that the city has partnered with a number of business development organizations throughout the city. And they will be available to provide assistance in addition to Lift Fund. We want to make sure that all of our small businesses have the information and the resources necessary to be able to submit their application, but also have the opportunity to learn about some of the other programs we provide here at the city to assist small businesses, whether you're early on in your small business journey or you are an established small business. So again, thank you for taking the time to attend this session, and I will turn it back to Lilian, who will go over the details.
Thank you, Anna. My name is Lilian Spenley. I am the Grants Programs and Operations Manager at Lift Fund, and I am here to walk us through all of the information about the program today. Let's get started. So as Anna mentioned, this is a $17 million fund to businesses who continue to struggle as a result of the pandemic. The grants will range in amount between $15,000 to $35,000, and an additional $10,000 will be available for businesses that are in areas that have been affected by construction projects that the city has identified. The application timeline, or the program timeline, as Anna mentioned, the application will open at 10 a.m. on August 1st and continue through August 22nd, promptly at 5 p.m. So definitely don't wait until the last minute. Don't wait till 4:59 to get your application started. The application review process will then go from August 23rd, late August, until the beginning of December as we work through all of the applications received. Award notifications will begin starting in early September and continue through December 1st. There's a scoring aspect to the program that we'll go into more detail about later on, but the highest scoring applications will be reviewed and considered first, and we'll work our way down through the lower scoring applications. And then finally, the funding, the most important part of this program, will begin mid-September on the 14th and continue until all funds are awarded on December 12th. The website for this program is City of San Antonio COVIDgrants.com, and you're welcome. We'll take a look at that site together later in the presentation, but you're welcome to go to that site and visit it, and it has all of the information that we're presenting today. We'll also share these slides as well as a recording of the presentation in Spanish and English a few days from now, and we'll post them on this website as well in case you want to refer back to the information presented. So what are the requirements and of the program? So the funds, of course, must be really used for business related expenses, including payroll, working capital, rent, inventory, supplies, equipment, working capital, other operating costs. Applicants are only eligible to receive one grant. So if you have a business with multiple locations, you can only apply for and receive the grant for one of those locations. Or if you have multiple separate businesses, you can only apply for and receive the grant for one business. Unfortunately, nonprofits are not eligible for this program. The eligibility criteria are that your gross sales in both 2020 and 2021 must be less than the gross sales in 2019. And then additionally, the gross sales in 2021 must be 20% or more lower than the gross sales in 2019. And that's going to be based off of your tax return. And again, we're looking at the gross sales versus the net. The business must be operating before January 1, 2020. And to verify that, we're going to be looking at your formation documents as well as, having those financials from 2019. That is the tax return for 2019. Furthermore, the business NAICS code or business activity code must begin with one of the following NAICS codes that we'll see here. So there are 42 codes, and your business must fall into one of these activities. And I'll leave this slide up here for a moment so that we all have a chance to review this. This list is also available on the website for you to review. These specific industries were identified by the city as those having experienced more than 5% or greater loss in employment throughout the past few years of the pandemic. Okay, I will continue. Again, the business must currently be operating and not have filed for bankruptcy at the time of the application. You must be located within San Antonio and planning to remain there for at least a year after the grant. The business cannot be a nonprofit in the gambling industry. Franchisors, to clarify, franchisees are acceptable. So if you own a Subway, that's fine. The sexually oriented businesses, payday and auto loan providers, liquor stores, and businesses with a city employee in which they have a financial interest are not eligible for this program. Furthermore, you cannot have applied for the ARPA for Arts program. And then lastly, you must be an authorized representative of the business. That just means that you need to be an owner in the business listed on the formation documents. As far as the requirements, which we definitely encourage you all to begin gathering now in advance of the application opening on August 1, and that way you'll be all ready to submit the application. So the document list is pretty short. It's just 6 items. So a current driver's license or government issued photo ID. So we can take the passport, the matricula, any of those are fine. The business registration with Bayard County, so that would be your DBA or assumed name certificate, or your registration through the Secretary of State, your certificate of formation or a certificate of incorporation. The proof of the number of employees. So that could be a your Form 941 from the first quarter of this year, or a payroll report, that you run in QuickBooks or some other program, or copies of checks paid to employees, anything for the first quarter of this year. That will also, and the number of employees we're looking at part-time, full-time, or contractors that you have on an ongoing basis, as well as, of course, yourself. A business utility bill, either water, gas, or electric. If you're home-based, that's perfectly fine. We can accept a home utility bill in that situation. If you don't have a utility bill because maybe the place where you rent for your business, the utilities are included, that's no problem. We can take a lease in place of the utility bill. And then as far as financials, we'll just need your 2019, 2020, and 2021 business tax return. If you're a sole proprietor and you file a Schedule C, we only need that page, that Schedule C page. We do not need the rest of your personal return. If you have not filed your 2021 return yet because you've filed an extension, we can accept a profit and loss statement for the year of 2021, but we do need to see the returns for 2019 and 2020. And then lastly, if you are a veteran, we'll ask for your DD-214, your proof of military discharge. So as I mentioned earlier, the grants are not awarded based on a first come, first served basis. It's based on a scoring system. The maximum score is 115, and the scoring is based on 5 different categories. So the reduction in gross revenue between 2019 and 2021, so those with a higher percentage of gross revenue decrease will receive greater points in this category. The industry, based on the NAICS code, so within those eligible NAICS codes that we showed earlier, those who have had a higher percent of job loss will receive greater points. And then demographics of the owner or the applicant. So businesses who are women-owned, minority-owned, veteran-owned, or in which the owner is disabled, those businesses will receive greater points. You do not have to have your certification as one of those types of businesses. This is based on your the identity of the owner solely. The 4th category that makes up the scoring is the Equity Atlas score, and we'll take a look at that site later. This is a website through the city of San Antonio. So businesses with a higher equity score will receive greater points. And then lastly, receipt of prior COVID-related funding. This might be PPP, EIDL, the Restaurant Revitalization Fund, or previous grants that were administered by LIFT Fund. So this is the COSA, the City of San Antonio Hospitality Grant in 2021, or the 2020 COVID recovery grant that was offered in 2020. So if you've received any of those things, you're certainly eligible to apply. However, it will be factored into the scoring, and applicants who have received none or limited previous funding will receive greater points. This is, again, just a summary of the scoring of what we just reviewed. So you can see here the exact breakdown within each of those categories that I just discussed. And again, all of this information is on the website at City of San Antonio COVIDgrants.com. So you're welcome to refer to it at any time. As far as the application process goes, on August 1st at 10 a.m., the link to apply will be on the website here. Right at the top, there will be an apply button. It typically takes applicants 30 minutes to an hour to complete. Typically, the longest part is simply uploading the documents. So if you can have all of those gathered in advance, that will definitely help to speed up the process. You will be able to start the application and then save and return to it later on, so you don't have to complete it all in one sitting. And all of the documents that are required must be attached in order for you to submit the application. So again, it's very helpful to gather those in advance. We will visit the website here in a moment so that you're able to see what it looks like. But if you do have any questions about the program, you can reach out to the Lift Fund grants team at 800-923-9551, or you can email us at sbgrants@liftfund.com. As Anna mentioned, we also do have 7 partners that are available to help you both with questions and with completing the application or scanning the documents as needed. Those partners are listed here as well as on the website, but they are Centro San Antonio, Prosper West, Cultroingua, Sage, Maestro, and Southside First, as well as the Women's Business Center. Their phone numbers are listed here, but we'll have all of their contact information, including the addresses and their websites and phone numbers on the website as well. And that'll be at City of San Antonio covidgrants.com/partners. And I'll show you how to access that page from the main website in just a moment here. So we're very honored to work with these partners to provide additional assistance in completing the application. Additional resources that you may be interested in are, of course, Lift Fund does offer some loan programs. We also have business support, free business support through our Launch SA Center and Women's Business Center, as well as some online templates, courses, and resources. All of those are bilingual, offered in Spanish and English. And then we have a whole series of events and courses and workshops for small business owners, which you can find on our website. We'll go to the website now to take a look. And again, all of the information presented today, including eligibility criteria, required documents, the scoring system, the timeline, and frequently asked questions are available on the site. So we'll visit there now. And so we see the main page. You can always switch the site to Spanish. The list of the partners are here at the top, and we'll visit that page in just a moment. So as I mentioned, you have the application dates here. Once the application goes live, the apply now button will be here at the top of the page as well. Just repeating the amount, you can see here how that amount that you're eligible for is determined. It's based on the amount of reduction in gross sales that you've experienced between 2019 and 2021. So the greater the reduction in gross sales, the greater the grant award amount that you're eligible for. And again, businesses that are in the areas that are affected by construction will be eligible for an additional $10,000 on top of the $15,000 to $35,000 range. We do have a list of those areas, those construction sites that have been identified by the city, and we'll take a look at that down in the FAQs section. Again, repeating that the grants, only one grant is available per person and per business. We have a list of the eligibility requirements, and you can click here if you need to revisit the list of the NAICS or business activity codes that are eligible for this grant. If you're not sure where to find your NAICS code, we also have a guide here at the bottom. Depending on which type of tax return you file, you'll be able to identify or locate that business activity code on your tax return. So this is a helpful guide. And if for some reason your business activity code is blank, or maybe all zeros or all nines, depending on how your bookkeeper or CPA may have filled that out, we also have the site for the NAICS code the federal NAICS code site where you can look up your appropriate NAICS code. So I'll go back to the main page here. You have, again, all of the eligibility requirements. As far as if you're not sure whether you're within the city of San Antonio or not, we do have a link here to the map of the city, and you can enter your business address here. And if it falls within one of these colored shaded areas, then you are within the city limits. The next, we have the list of the required documents, the 6 items that I mentioned earlier. The next section, we have the scoring methodology, again, with a breakdown of how many points are awarded within each category for each qualification. Lastly, we have, again, the program timeline. So again, the application period is August 1 from 10 a.m. until August 22nd at 5 p.m. And then again, the review period will be from August 23rd through December 2nd. The award notifications will go out beginning September 2nd and continue through December 5th. And if you are selected for the grant, you will receive a DocuSign email from Lift Fund by email. So please be sure to be watching your email carefully. Sometimes those can go into your spam folder, and we know applicants can be wary of a fraud or a scam. And so definitely be looking out for a DocuSign form from a Lift Fund email address. And that way you'll know that it is legitimate and it is from us, and definitely something that you should take a look at. And then lastly, the disbursements will begin mid-September and continue through mid-December. Lastly, all recipients that are selected and funded will be required to complete a follow-up impact survey in June of 2023, 2024, and 2025. So that's just something good to know. This is the first of 3 info sessions. So if you want to join us again, we will be having another session on August 3rd as well as August 15th, and you can register for those sessions here on the site. Our community partners will also be hosting a number of sessions, and we will add the information for those to the website here shortly as well. Again, if you do need assistance with the application, you're welcome to reach out to one of our partners for in-person assistance. And you're also, of course, welcome to call Lift Fund anytime. You can reach that page with all of the information for the partners by clicking on this Visit Partners page button. And it'll take you here to the map so you can identify which partner is closest to you. And then you have all of their contact information as well as links to their websites right here so that you're able to reach out to them. The appointments will be by appointment only. So definitely please call them earlier than later. We do anticipate they will have quite a lot of demand. And so to be sure that you're able to get that assistance, please don't wait to schedule your appointment once the application period opens, or even in advance if you like. Some frequently asked questions, we'll just go through these quickly, but they're here. And we can add to those questions as well as we go through these info sessions when we hear from you what you're most interested to know. So are sole proprietors eligible? Yes, as long as you do have a filed DBA or assumed name certificate. If your gross sales in 2020 were less than 2019, but higher in 2021 than in 2019, or the other way around, where 2021 was lower, but 2020 was greater, can I apply? Unfortunately, the answer is no. Both 2020 and 2021 must be less than 2019 gross sales. We are not considering net revenue in that calculation. As far as employees being counted, we are looking at part-time, full-time, and contractors who work for you on a regular basis, as well as yourself as the business owner. If the business is located outside of San Antonio, but you serve customers all throughout the city, can I apply? No, your business must be physically located within the city. If I have two businesses, can I submit an application for each? No, you need to pick one application, one business, and submit the application for just that one. Can I get assistance from a third party like my CPA or accountant? You can get assistance from a bookkeeper, as well as one of the 7 community partners that we just took a look at. However, you must be the one to submit the application. Someone should not submit the application on your behalf. I also strongly urge all applicants to only work with one of these 7 community partners, or a bookkeeper that they trust. These 7 community partners are offering this assistance free of charge and have been vetted and trained to help you with this application process. So if you're approached by anyone else who's offering to guarantee funding, if you pay them to help for application assistance, that's not someone that you should work with. If you are a sole proprietor and you have not filed your DBA yet, but you have been operating since before January 2020, you can still qualify for this grant. You'll just need to file a DBA and still provide that evidence that you were operating before January 1, 2020. So that's not a problem. Yes. And then if you're selected, do you have to pay the grant back? No, this is a grant, not a loan. So these funds do not have to be returned. If the business registration address on your business formation documents or your tax return is a PO box, that's not a problem. We'll verify your physical address through that utility bill or the business lease that you provide. Or if the address listed on those documents is out of date and you've since moved, again, not a problem, because we'll verify through the recent utility bill. Again, if you don't receive a utility bill, we can accept a lease or a rental invoice, so that's not a problem. And then again, if you do need assistance, you can reach out to our team at 800-923-9551, or for in-person assistance, you can contact one of the 7 navigators to schedule an appointment. And this link here will also take you to that partners page that we looked at a few moments ago. So lots of ways to get to that page. And then as far as whether or not you qualify for the construction extra additional 10,000 if you're in one of those construction impacted areas. So we can click here on this link to see, and we have a list of the construction projects that the city has identified. So if you're within one of these areas, within a 1-mile radius of these areas, then you will be eligible for consideration for that that additional funding. Let me go back here. And then lastly, again, if you have questions, there are 3 ways to reach out to Lift Fund. That number again is 800-923-9551. Or you can email sbgrants@liftfund.com, or you can click here and submit a question through this short form online, and then we'll follow up with you within 1 to 2 business days. So I will pause there and open up the floor to questions. Again, you've already been submitting lots of questions, which we're very happy about, and please continue to do so. We will continue answering them by chat, and I will also answer as many as I can verbally. If we do have some additional questions that we're not able to get to, I definitely encourage you all to reach out to Lift Fund through, or one of our partners through the contact methods that we shared. So let me take a look here at some of the questions that you all have been posting. Okay. So one participant asked if I have one EIN, but two separate operations. Together, they do not meet the 20% income drop from 2019 to 2021. Is it possible to apply as the separate operations? I would love to follow up with you to clarify, but certainly if you have two different businesses, you can qualify or you can apply for just one, and you should apply for just one. Yes, this presentation will be available on the website within the next day or two. Let's see. Yes, there are some questions about the NAICS codes. Your business must be, the NAICS code on your tax return must be one of those NAICS codes that we shared in order to qualify for or to be eligible for this program. Let's see. If you had a business that was founded prior to January 1, 2020, but the name changed, but all of the same, it's the same business, it's the same, activity, the same ownership, all of this, that is fine. We can accept that. What we'll do is we'll simply ask for your original business registration to verify that it was operating before January 1, 2020, as well as the new business formation documents so that we can see the current structure of the business. Not a problem. Businesses with no official employees are eligible as long as, of course, you as the applicant, the owner, as long as the business is registered and you are listed as the owner. If you're, again, a sole proprietor with just you as the CEO, employee, everything, not a problem. You're certainly eligible to apply. This is a great question. So if you have multiple business locations, but you only are want to submit the application for one of those locations, but the financials on your tax return are combined for all of your locations, we will ask that you do submit those tax returns. However, in addition, we'll ask that you submit an individual profit and loss statement for that unique location so that we're able to divide out what is for that location. Great question. Let's see. Yes, again, if you have changed your business structure or the name of the business, but the business itself is still the same, we'll simply ask for that previous formation document as well as the new one, but that's something you're definitely still eligible. For this grant, the number of employees doesn't factor into the scoring or your eligibility. It's just something that we want to measure, but it doesn't negatively or positively impact your success or likelihood of being selected. If your 2021 sales are not lower than 2019, or they're greater than 2019, or they are not at least 20% less than 2019, unfortunately, you will not be eligible for the program. And within the application, we do have several checks where if you will not qualify based on the responses, it will give you a notification and will discourage you from moving further. So the application will also help guide you through those eligibility requirements. Both employees and contractors will be counted in that employee count and should be included in the documentation that you provide to us. So as long as the contractors are contractors that you're working with consistently and weren't just someone who did a one-day job for you, as a one-off project. It looks like there was a discrepancy in the slides where the scoring methodology showed at the scoring at 25%, but the requirement is only 20%. Thank you very much for pointing that out, and we will certainly have that corrected. If you believe that your accountant or bookkeeper may have incorrectly listed your NAICS code on your tax returns, and the NAICS code shown is not representative of the activity that you actually do, please reach out to Lift Fund, and we can take a look at that to review more carefully. If you are a sole proprietor and you file a Schedule C, then you do not need to provide any proof of employees in the application. You'll simply, you will not be required to upload a document for that document slot. As far as if you're not sure if you qualify based on the industry, again, you can visit the website, and I'll show you again where that guide is on how to look up your NAICS code. So let me share my screen here once more, and let's go to the eligibility. And under the eligibility, the link with the NAICS code list, if you scroll to the bottom of this page, you will be able to see the instructions here on looking up your NAICS code. Okay, let's see. These are great questions. Thank you all so much for your engagement. If you perform, we have a question about businesses who perform at different locations, or who complete work at different locations, but don't have a physical address that customers visit. In most cases, your physical address would be your home address, and so that would need to be within the city of San Antonio, following that map that we saw here. We do need to have a physical address versus a PO box. This is a great question that has come up several times. If you do not qualify for the main grant, however, you are within one of the construction impacted areas, there's no way to receive just the $10,000 construction supplement. You would need to qualify and be selected for the regular grant, and then the construction supplement would be an add-on to that award amount. As far as businesses who may have opened late in the year for 2019, you would need to have filed a business tax return for that year, and for those revenues to be greater than the gross sales in 2019 to be greater than the gross sales in 2020 and 2021. So if you opened later in the year, if you do meet those requirements, you're certainly eligible. If not, you would not be eligible for this program. To clarify, this is also a great question. The gross sales in each year for 2020 and 2021, each by themselves must be less than 2019. So not combined, we're looking at each year individually. And that is correct. If you do not meet the 20%, minimum 20% threshold for 2021 being lower than 2019, you will not be eligible and will not be able to apply. You will not be able to submit the application. A number of questions here on types of businesses and whether or not they're eligible. We encourage you all to go to the list of those NAICS codes and compare that with your tax return and to see if your business type or business industry is on the eligible list. A request to look at the list of construction areas again. So that is in our FAQs section, and I will pull that up here to share, and I'll leave that list up here for a moment. Okay. And okay, we've answered a number of questions on the NAICS code, so I think we've covered that. Okay. Some questions about the equity score. Let me go to that page as well. Again, that's a website through the City of San Antonio, and you can access it here under the eligibility section. And, oh, pardon me, that is the city limits. The equity score is here at near the bottom of the scoring methodology section. And you can click here, and when you go to the combined score tab, you can type in your address at the search bar that will appear here momentarily. We'll pull that up. As soon as that comes up, I will show you all how to look up your score. Oh, here we go. Here's the search. So we can type in an address. For example, I'll use Lyft Fund's address. And there we go. And it should, oh, well, it looks like, let me refresh the site. Typically, it will have some color coding and when you type in your address, it will then say your equity score is, a 5 or a 7, based on the address that you enter up here. It looks like the site may be acting up a little bit at the moment, but certainly it should be corrected, soon. Let's see. Okay. And we do have about 15 minutes left in this presentation. We'll continue answering questions, but if we're not able to get to all of your questions, again, we encourage you to reach out to Lyft Fund at one of the many ways, the 3 ways to contact us, which are here on the website: by email, by phone, or through an online inquiry form. If you're, again, if your business was just beginning or getting off the ground in 2019 and your gross sales were not greater than the gross sales in 2020 and 2021, we do understand many businesses were severely affected. However, you would not qualify for this particular program. And again, to clarify, we are looking at gross sales versus net revenue. So that's an important distinction. Let's see. Yes, we've had a number of questions on what if my tax preparer put the wrong NAICS code on my tax return. Again, please reach out to Lyft Fund and we can review this with you one-on-one. Okay. There are a number of questions that are similar to questions we've already answered, so I'm trying to go through and identify as many unique questions so that we can answer for as many folks as possible. Yes, this is a great question. So if you're, the NAICS business activity code is a 6-digit code. And so it simply must start with the first 3 digits of that code must be on this list here. So everyone's NAICS code will have 3 additional digits. Those last 3 digits don't matter as long as the first 3 begin with one of the ones on this list. Great question. Okay. For for an eligible applicant, you must be listed on the business documents. The percent ownership isn't crucial. It doesn't need to be the majority owner, but the applicant must be listed on the formation documents. Yes, if you have expenses that are past due, that as long as they are within the eligible expenses, rent, payroll, utilities, all of that type of thing, those are qualified eligible expenses. As far as that 20% minimum decrease, that only applies to 2021 compared with 2019. So 2020 just needs to be lower than 2019 by any amount, but there's no specific percentage. That's a really good question. Okay. There are a lot of questions on here related to, businesses that may have just begun in 2018 or 2019 and hadn't really taken off, and then were, severely impacted by the pandemic, and that will not qualify for this grant because those 2020 and 2021 revenues are will not be lower than 2019. That is true. There are some additional resources that we can share with you. And so we'll be happy to share those if you'd like to reach out to Lift Fund. We can also post those on the website. Yes, so the construction supplement is for businesses that were in an area that were negatively affected by construction, happening in that vicinity. It's not that your business was necessarily, undergoing construction. Okay. I think we've answered that one. We've answered that one. Yes, and that is correct. So businesses under a single structure, but with different entities, are eligible to apply by providing both the tax returns, which may be combined, as well as a comprehensive financial statement separating out the specific business being applied for. Okay. Yes, as far as the equity score, we will certainly follow up with the city to make sure that those color codings and scoring are showing on the website soon. Yes, okay, looks like we're getting an answer to that. Okay, I think we've answered all the questions. We'll hang around here for another 5 minutes or so. And there's a question about ARPA for Arts. There's no specific geographic area for that. It's simply if you applied for the program, you're not eligible to also apply for this program. Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank everyone from the city, Anna and Gladys, for joining me today, as well as my colleagues, Valerie and Natalie. We're so excited for this program, and I'm so grateful and proud to be a partner with the city, who is so committed to helping small businesses that are continuing to feel the impact of this terrible pandemic. We look forward to helping you all through the application process and welcome you all to reach out to us, as well as any of the 7 partners, for your questions and for assistance with the application. We want to encourage you all again to not wait until the last day to begin and submit the application. And we wish everyone the best of luck. Thank you for joining us today.